In Matthew chapter 6 and verse 19, Jesus said, "Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth where moth and rust destroy, and where thieves break in and steal, but store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moth and rust do not destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. The eye is the lamp of the body. If your eyes are good, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eyes are bad, your whole body will be full of darkness. If then the light within you is darkness, how great is that darkness? No one can serve two masters. Either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money." You know, the King James Version calls money filthy lucre. And in reality, money is pretty filthy stuff. Studies have shown that a solid majority of the United States currency bills are contaminated with cocaine. Often drug traffickers use their soiled hands to move the cash, and many addicts roll bills up and sniff cocaine through the bills as though through a straw. But not only is money filled with contamination of cocaine, but a large amount of fecal matter is found on dollar bills or on paper money. A 2002 report in the Southern Medical Journal said that on 94% of dollar bills tested, that paper money can reportedly carry more germs than a household toilet, and that bills are a hospitable environment for gross microbes. Viruses and bacteria can live on the surface, or most surfaces, for about 48 hours, but paper money can reportedly transport a flu virus for up to 17 days. It's enough to make you want to switch to a credit card, isn't it? But you know, money, though it may be filthy, it's not sinful. It's not evil. In fact, Jesus in our text is actually giving Christians a retirement plan. He's talking about a secret investment concerning the Christian life, that we can actually use earthly wealth to gain treasures and riches in heaven. In our text, he talks of three different groups of two treasures, one on earth and one in heaven, two perspectives, the good eye or the bad eye, and two masters, either God or money. Now, when it comes to treasures on earth, we all have to face the fact that 2 Peter chapter 2 and verse 3, or chapter 3 and verse 10, says that this world and all its works someday are going to be burned up. Now, amassing wealth is not morally wrong. It's simply a poor investment. I work with a lot of financial planners, and financial planners don't want to be short-sighted. So they'll go 30 years ahead to determine what a person's financial future could hold. Well, Jesus is saying, don't ask how your investment will pay off in 30 years, but how will it be paying off in 30 billion years? Treasures on earth are only going to last a short time, but treasures in heaven are going to last forever. We store up treasures on earth by accumulating them for ourselves, but we store up treasures in heaven by sharing freely and giving what we have away to others. Jesus, now, he didn't say to do it because it's right, but because it's smart. It's not emotional. It's logical. Invest in what will last, have the lasting value, and it's that simple, because you really can't take it with you. In Psalms 49, verses 16 and 17, it says, Do not be overawed when a man grows rich, when the splendor of his house increases, for he will take nothing with him when he dies. His splendor will not descend with him. You know, one of my old favorite stories is about a preacher who needed a suit. And So he really wasn't making a lot of money, so he decided to go to the thrift store to see if he could get a deal. Well, he went to the thrift store, he was looking through the rack, and there was a really beautiful black suit. Well, he pulled the suit out, and it was just exactly his size. He tried it on, it fit perfectly. Well, the next morning he had to rush to get ready, running a little late, and he was going to be teaching class, and so he put on his suit, and he got to the class, and he's standing before the class and begins to teach, and as he normally does, he pulled back the jacket and to put his hands in his pocket, and he noticed that there were no pockets. In fact, there were places for pockets, but there were none on the entire suit. In fact, there wasn't one single pocket on that suit. Well, he quickly took a glance at the label inside, and it said, Morton's Funeral Home. And he realized that he had purchased a suit that was used to be placed upon corpses. And, of course, there was no pockets, because you can't take it with you. As the old saying goes, no one has ever seen a hearse pulling a U-Haul. You can't take it with you. But this is the most profound revelation, is though you can't take it with you, you can send it on ahead. And if this doesn't take your breath away, you've missed the point. Anything we try to hang on to here is temporary treasure, and it's going to be lost. But anytime we put earthly treasures in God's hands, we store up for ourselves treasures in heaven, eternal rewards. It's a revolutionary concept. Jesus wants us to store up our treasures, not just he's not telling us to stop storing them up. He's just saying, stop storing them in the wrong place on earth where they won't last, and start sending them on to heaven where they'll pay dividends. What we do with our money and possessions will have an effect on our quality of life in eternity. The Bible does not teach, as most of us assume, that heaven will be transformed, will transform each of us into these equal beings and this existence of a social nature that everyone's the same. Absolutely not. The Bible teaches that some people will get greater rewards than others. Now, I know what you're saying. Salvation is by grace, Ephesians 1:2, not of works. There's nothing we can do to earn salvation. It's a free gift of God, the blood of Jesus Christ. But good works are not our salvation, but they accompany our salvation, Hebrews 6:9. They're our purpose in life. And there are going to be varied degrees of rewards. Ephesians 6:8 says, because you know that the Lord will reward everyone for whatever good he does. 2 John 1:8 says, watch out that you do not lose what you have worked for. You can't work for salvation. But then he goes on to say, but that you may be rewarded fully. And then in 1 Corinthians 3:14 and 15, in speaking to preachers, it says, if what he builds survives, he will receive his reward. If it is burned up, he will suffer loss, but he himself will be saved. And then again in Hebrews 11:35, others were tortured, not accepting deliverance, that they might obtain a better resurrection. The fact is very simple. We will receive rewards based upon what we're sending ahead. Now, what exactly are these treasures in heaven? I don't know in totality, but I do know that Jesus promised that they'll be waiting and that they're not the same as our salvation. Treasures in heaven. We won't be ghosts, we'll be resurrected bodies. It'll be a new heaven and a new earth, and we'll sit down to eat with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. There'll be different work to do. In Luke 19, there'll be a reversal of fortunes. Can you imagine in heaven meeting someone that you'd helped on this earth in a faraway place that you sent money to, and now they are really the rich ones? I want to end this podcast by saying this. Have you ever played that card game where the winner is the one who runs out of cards first, and every card left in your hand counts against you? The American dream is to die with as many cards in your hand that is possible. Well, maybe we're playing the wrong game. If you've enjoyed this podcast and been encouraged by it, please go to johndkimbrough.com to hear more. Thank you.